Story 1. It was a fantastic sequel to Alien. Hats off to James Cameron for making such an excellent movie. Story 2. They are probably just as confused about us as we are about them. Story 3. They are out there, probably damaging their planet and heading for extinction just as we are. Story 4. Statistically, there is an almost certain chance that life forms exist outside our solar system, possibly even within our own galaxy. However, will we ever encounter complex life forms during the span of humanity? That is difficult to determine. The likelihood of a nearby alien life form existing at the same moment in time as us is low. Story 5. They are there, we just have not found the mass effect relay beyond Pluto yet. Therefore, we have not met them yet. Story 6. They have no fashion sense and their music is poor. However, their drugs are of high quality. Story 7. I am convinced that they are out there, binge-watching Earth like it is their favorite soap opera. Story 8. I am not sure what would be scarier, being alone in the universe or having company. Story 9. They are likely not what we are imagining them to be. Look at the diverse life on Earth. Humans, trees, spiders, jellyfish, platypus. Fungus is pretty unusual. I do not think they would be humanoid or intelligent, but probably some strange form of life. I am sure they exist since the universe is a very large place. I just do not think they would be traveling around in technologically advanced spacecraft. Story 10. In my opinion, there has to be extraterrestrial life somewhere in the universe. I do not think there are life forms within our solar system, but definitely within our own galaxy. I also think that we will never make contact with extraterrestrial beings. Story 11. They are still mysterious to me. No one really knows what an alien truly looks like or what their true form and nature are. I really want to see one too. Story 12. I believe they have been visiting us for decades, and we are about to see disclosure. Story 13. Do they exist? Undeniably. Have we been visited by them? Absolutely not. The cosmos is unbelievably vast. Also, I think Alien was just a bit better. Story 14. Coming down here, taking our women. Oh, it makes me angry. Story 15. Extrasolar living beings on Earth? Highly unlikely to the point where I would wager it is not so. Non-Earth-based life forms in our solar system? A reasonable guess, but no evidence yet. There are enough missions planned to explore the most likely spots in the next couple of decades. Living beings in a different system? Given the sheer numbers involved, I would say it is likely. Intelligent, technologically advanced beings in a different system? Who knows? One of the solutions to the Fermi paradox might be correct, or we have not advanced enough to detect them from far away. Story 16. Do I believe in multicellular life on other planets and galaxies? Yes, I do. Do I believe in little green men who are flying around in spaceships and sticking probes in the bodies of people in America? No. It is naive to think we are the only life form in space. Story 17. I think they could help us save the planet, but they enjoy watching us fail. Story 18. If they are real and have been present, they just need to act decisively. Stop convincing Earth's most irrational citizens that you exist, and start appealing to the average human. The joke was only funny for the last 30 years. Story 19. Hopefully, they are already organized into a peaceful intergalactic organization that we can join. Story 20. I believe that we are not alone in the universe, but I do not believe in the fake evidence found on the internet. Story 21. Some form of primitive life is probably not that rare. Maybe one star in about 20 has a planet with some kind of life. The best candidates are stars similar to the Sun, such as Alpha Centauri A and Eta Cassiopeiae A, because they are bright enough to have a wide habitable zone, and planets there do not have to be tidally locked. These stars also live long enough for advanced life to evolve. However, the probability of an advanced civilization capable of interstellar communication existing at our time is very small. The closest one could be thousands of light years away. To put that in perspective, Eta Cassiopeiae A is as bright as the Sun and located approximately 20 light years away. At that distance, it is only visible to the naked eye under ideal conditions. It is the sixth brightest star in the Cassiopeia constellation, which contains 5 bright stars that form a W shape. It would be exciting if a civilization existed there. Eta Cassiopeiae might be the only star visible to the naked eye from my location that has a decent chance of hosting advanced life. Story 22. They came. They observed. They left shaking their heads. Story 23. Listen to the Unidentified Flying Object podcast, Unidentified Flying Object Warning, and Extraterrestrial Reality podcasts to learn more. Story 24. Alien life, I believe they exist. Alien life as we have on Earth is very unlikely. Story 25. I do not believe in extraterrestrial beings visiting our planet for one simple reason. I imagine something so serious would be shared with the presidents. If Donald Trump had knowledge about extraterrestrial beings, he would tell people just to stir up problems and cause chaos. Story 26. I just hope to be alive the day we find something out there. Story 27. Aliens are born and die. They are obsessed with technology. Story 28. I believe life exists in many places in the universe too far away for us to detect. I do not think that intelligent life exists in most of those places. Humans are massively inefficient. Our brains use up 20% of the energy we consume, and we have a bad habit of disrupting our environment significantly. I am not sure those adaptations are sustainable in most environments long-term. Story 29. I have personally seen some things in my life that make me believe they are out there. Add to that the countless personal testimonies from humanity over the past 100 years or more, and insiders within the government now coming forward to say there have been vast cover-ups. They are undoubtedly out there. Even if only 10 out of 100,000 sightings are true, it means somehow the laws of physics allow extraterrestrial beings to travel from another star system to ours. Statistically, there is so much life elsewhere in the universe that we cannot comprehend the quantity. If they are traveling here to our planet, then there are aliens everywhere traveling to many different planets. Based on the information the general public is allowed to know, they have visited us. If one species has visited us, then chances are other species have as well. I believe that the universe is teeming with life. The reason it is not readily apparent is probably a combination of humanity's way of seeing and aliens mostly avoiding contact with us because of our nature. We are still relatively savage. We are learning about the universe by observing the wobbling light of stars and listening for radio signals. Do you seriously believe that extraterrestrials capable of interstellar travel are using radio? They are probably using some means of communication we cannot even comprehend. Story 30. I was abducted 3 times between 2018 and 2019. The first time I thought it was a dream. The second time I was clearly awake. I saw the aliens and could hear them, but they had no mouth. The third time was very frightening. I am serious about this. I woke up in a green metallic circular room with beds. I was naked and bound to a gurney. To my left was a man, probably in his mid-30s to mid-40s. He was about 6 feet tall and had a fit body but was not muscular. He had reddish-brown hair. He was also naked. To my right was an old woman, possibly in her late 60s, also naked. She had white hair. I noticed that even though I was tied down, we had gravity, so I was obviously on Earth. The man woke up and started panicking. I told him to calm down before they came in. He was yelling for help and then they came in. He panicked more. They untied him and he got up and pushed one of the aliens. They sedated him and rolled me out of the room. They then took my arm and cut it open. My veins and nerves were held on hooks while they experimented on me. I felt like it lasted for hours. They would not answer me no matter how many questions I asked or how much I pleaded. When it was over, they brought me back home. My arm was in constant pain for about 2 years. Even now, I get random pains where they cut it, but I have no scar. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from this. I never had it before. The worst part was that when I told my family, they did not believe me. In 2020, the Navy confirmed some strange alien-like technology bothering them. I do not expect a single person to believe me, but I am writing this publicly because I want to know who that man was. I want him to know I was there and he was not dreaming. Story 31. They are fine until they purchase an online platform at extremely high costs so that they can broadcast and promote their unfamiliar agendas. Story 32. I think there is something highly evolved lurking in Boodi's void, or at least there was something. Story 33. I believe that they exist and know everything about us but have no interest in contacting us in any way. Story 34. You are probably out there, but only in the United States of America because they just know the United States of America. Story 35. I am an alien. I have wanted to become one since I was 5. And guess what? It happened. Story 36. I am sure they exist, but I am also sure we will never meet. Let us assume we catch a signal from them and localize it. We can determine, if they still exist, how many years roughly they must be ahead in development. They must have been sending those signals for a long time because we have been sending them for about 100 to 120 years. They have reached a comparable distance already, and we know there is nobody within this range. Story 37. I'm not sure opinion is the right word. Conviction is probably better. Statistically, it is pretty much impossible we are the only sentient beings in the universe. However, it is also extremely unlikely we would ever be able to causally interact with each other. Story 38. They are all right except for the lizard people currently occupying Washington, D.C. Story 39. There will be a significant range of differences among alien races. There may even be alien civilizations where most members have Asperger's syndrome. Story 40. We will exchange further. The universe is vast. Matter, distance, and time transcend. Connect Andromeda. Story 41. Given the size and age of the universe, the number of galaxies, the number of stars in each galaxy, and planets around stars on average, it seems highly improbable that we are the only planet with life. I believe life is probably very common. Some fraction would develop intelligent life. I would be shocked if there were not a vast number of intelligent species in the universe. Some significantly more advanced than us seems fairly likely to me. However, the scale involved makes it unlikely that we are being visited. There has never been any solid evidence of that. There are many sightings that have not been conclusively proven to be anything else, but that is not evidence of alien visitations. Story 42. The Fermi paradox suggests that extraterrestrial life should be everywhere, yet science has no evidence. However, unidentified flying objects that defy physics are a real phenomenon acknowledged by the United States government, and one possible explanation is alien technology. The fact that we already exist logically means it is not far-fetched for aliens to exist. Regarding the vast distances they would need to travel, some say it is impossible, but we cannot know for sure. There are many things we still do not understand about the universe. Additionally, many people claim they were abducted by aliens. These individuals often have nothing to gain and much to lose, such as their reputation and jobs. Notable cases include Travis Walton, the Pascagoula abduction, Betty and Barney Hill, and the Ariel School incident. I believe aliens exist and may even have bases on Earth, especially since much of the ocean remains unexplored. They might observe us as we observe isolated tribes. Similar to the science fiction series Star Trek, they may choose not to interfere and instead study us. They remain hidden until we discover faster-than-light travel, zero-point energy, or reach some other scientific threshold. It is arrogant to claim we are alone in such a vast universe filled with countless planets capable of supporting life. Story 43. They probably exist and live outside our visible universe, so we will never know. Or, they are like dinosaur species on a lush planet somewhere waiting to be discovered. Or, they went extinct long before we appeared on Earth. Even if they exist or not, both possibilities are terrifying. What if there is a species also searching for other life, and we become like ants to them? They are so powerful and advanced that there is nothing we can do but accept our fate. Maybe it is a good idea to keep quiet and avoid trying to make contact. Story 44. So advanced that even if they were here, we would not be able to comprehend their reality, let alone communicate with them. It would be like an ant trying to communicate with the soul of a human boot. Story 45. I was fascinated with them as a kid, but less so nowadays. I loved Star Wars, Spore, and those UFO and alien sighting videos on the internet. I never really believed the alien sighting stories, but I believe they must be out there somewhere. Story 46. I think there will be a time when they are here on Earth. Story 47. Holy shoot, I am watching it right now. You cannot make this up. Story 48. They almost certainly exist somewhere out there, even if only in a different galaxy. They are very likely also somewhere far away from us and do not necessarily have advanced or compatible technology to locate us and communicate with us. Story 49. They are a mess. Since Earth is well known as the most troubled planet in this entire galaxy, it attracts all the riffraff, even from neighboring galaxies. Traffic has become crazy in space near Earth. Many years ago, I built a small weekend home on the far side of the moon to have a quiet retreat. The far side of the moon used to be very quiet if you kept your distance from the Nazi moon base, but now they are more or less constantly hovering through my front yard. And do not let me start on the trip to the moon with this crazy traffic. Story 50. They receive preferential treatment for cameo roles in Star Trek. Story 51. They are probably real, to be honest. They are just not advanced enough yet, like us. Story 52. Have you watched the Yale lecture about unidentified aerial phenomena? It is fascinating. Story 53. They taste like chicken. They are a bit chewy and the meat is green. Story 54. I believe that the fact we exist makes it foolish to believe there is no life elsewhere in the universe. Story 55. Whoever posted this question should capitalize the word aliens. Otherwise, it sounds like you are asking what our opinion of aliens is, and of course we have never met one. Story 56. I am still eagerly waiting for them to pick me up in their flying saucer for some probing experiments. Story 57. I believe they are more likely to be interterrestrial than extraterrestrial. This means they live somewhere on Earth, but we do not know where. Best guess, the ocean. Story 58. So you are telling me that out of all the planets in this vast universe, even the ones we do not know of, life only exists on one tiny planet? No, aliens definitely exist. Story 59. Which ones? You cannot just lump them all into one group. Story 60. If we are the only ones, it seems like an awful waste of space. Story 61. The likelihood they are out there somewhere is as good as 100%. The question is whether it is physically possible to ever meet. If it is indeed possible to develop interstellar or intergalactic travel technology, I suspect they are already here or at least have been. If not, we are as good as alone. Story 62. I'm going to say that extraterrestrial life definitely exists. The universe is too vast for it not to. I would say it is even likely that there is life somewhere else in the galaxy. But do I think extraterrestrial life has visited Earth while humans were here? No, not likely. I am not going to say there definitely have not been extraterrestrials here, but I think it is extremely unlikely. Story 63. They say that the chances for life to develop on a planet are 1 to infinity, which is us. Therefore, I do not think there is another life form in the universe. Story 64. They probably exist somewhere because it is highly unlikely that they do not. In a universe of infinite star systems and infinite planets, even the smallest chances become near certainties. It is highly likely that we will never meet them, communicate with them, or even know that they exist unless we manage to exceed the speed of light. Story 65. You know the rare Earth theory? I go to an extreme and believe that of all possibilities, there may be only a handful of civilizations like ours out there. The rest either have not evolved to our level of intelligence or are at a different stage. There may be only 1 or 2 high-tech civilizations out there, like in the movies, and they are more than likely uninterested in our planet because we have nothing of value to them or we are too primitive for them to approach yet. Story 66. They exist. We cannot be the universe's only life form. They have the privilege of migrating to the United States through the correct channels. They should not be kept in cages or separated from their children at the border. We are all aliens. Story 67. Probably should have legal points of entry like other countries. Story 68. As I have never smelled any yet, I really cannot say. Could you bring one up close, please? Story 69. I love deep underwater documentaries. Just look at it and you know that even this planet is alien. Story 70. Is there life out there in the vast cosmos? Yes, almost a certainty. Is that life visiting us in magical flying craft that can only be seen by conspiracy theorists and shaky photographers? No. Story 71. They saw what was happening on Earth and decided to stay clear. Story 72. If they are advanced enough for interstellar travel, they will be advanced enough to surpass our collective certainty of their existence. Story 73. I think they definitely exist and we are too far away to ever contact each other. Story 74. We think of extraterrestrial beings as biological, but any species capable of intergalactic space travel has reached a stage in their civilization where they have fully adopted artificial intelligence and nanotechnology, so they would be merged with machines. Story 75. They exist, and the anal examinations are not as bad as they say. Story 76. I believe other life exists somewhere. However, it is so far away that making contact is not feasible. The distance measured in light years alone makes it nearly impossible to detect each other. Story 77. The thing that always bums me out about aliens in science fiction is that in reality, if we were to meet, we would wipe them out with something we are so well equipped against that we don't even recognize it as an ailment, and they would wipe us out with their equivalent. Story 78. We are smaller than a speck of dust in an infinite fractal universe we will never be able to traverse. I think life is common in the universe at the bacteria and prokaryote level, but the necessary requirements for eukaryotic life to emerge, and for the planet to remain relatively undisturbed for a few billion years so, sentient life can develop and flourish, are so specific and unlikely that other civilizations are extremely rare. I believe there are definitely other advanced civilizations in the universe, but we will never encounter them because, on the vanishingly tiny chance that we exist in the same time period, we will never find each other. Story 79. Who knows, they might exist even as just some very simple life forms. Or we are alone, and life on Earth is a one-time wonder. Either way, I do not think we will find out. There is probably no way to travel the vast distances in space. Story 80. Well, life on Earth has been getting worse since humans arrived, but mostly they are okay. Story 81. You could try pumping values into the Drake equation to see how likely it is there is intelligent life in the galaxy. Story 82. I think there is a good chance they exist, given how vast the universe is. I also think there is a slim chance they are visiting Earth, given how vast the universe is. Story 83. There is a high likelihood of extraterrestrial life in the universe. If they are more technologically advanced than we are, it is probably best for our safety if they do not encounter us. If they are less technologically advanced than we are, it is probably best for their safety if we do not encounter them. Story 84. It seems unlikely that we are the only life form throughout the universe, but what they are actually like is probably beyond our imagination. Story 85. They are probably more similar to us than we think. I believe life itself only has so many variations. It will not be like the aliens depicted in movies or shows. I do not believe in the Fermi paradox in that, because of low evidence, there may not be any extraterrestrial life. The universe is huge, and we are not exactly that advanced. We have the internet and technology, but we can barely land on the moon. How are we supposed to detect alien life from light years away? They could be in their Stone Age. Even if they were at the same level as us, they might be very far away. If they are super advanced, they may observe us the way David Attenborough films wildlife, without getting involved and trying not to be seen, where they could just be bacteria. The point is, I believe there is some form of life out there. It is just impossible to know what kind. Story 86. We had a chance to make first contact, change the world, and see the biggest story in human history unfold. But Al Bundy and his socks ruined it. They did not even take the annoying redhead with them. What a missed opportunity. Story 87. Aliens have inferior intellect and abilities. They are slow. Story 88. They are glued to their extraterrestrial television screen, in their extraterrestrial pajamas, sitting in their extraterrestrial recliner chairs, eating their extraterrestrial popcorn, while streaming the latest episode of Those Crazy Humans. Story 89. It was a good sequel. More science fiction than horror, but I enjoyed the plot and it had a couple of really good memorable lines. Story 90. They have already begun monitoring Earth, and the sightings of extraterrestrials are real. However, planetary invasion forces are much harder to move through space than a few scouting parties. It is difficult to identify where planets suitable for life are, but Earth lit itself up like a neon sign in the 20th century by sending out numerous messages, thereby revealing to extraterrestrials where we are now. Numerous government agencies know about their existence but choose not to reveal it to the public because it is challenging to inform people that a technologically superior civilization is present at all times. Governments must pretend to their citizens that they are the most powerful forces to maintain authority. Story 91. It is nearly statistically impossible for there not to be other life in the universe. Does that mean there are little green Martians or any other superintelligent race? No, but I do not believe we are the only living things in the universe. Story 92. We have 99% similar DNA to chimpanzees, yet we treat them terribly. I cannot really imagine what would happen if we encountered a life form that was completely different from us. One species is doomed, and if the aliens are the ones that have the technology to get here, it is us. Story 93. There is a lot of evidence to suggest the universe is full of single-celled life forms. There is a lot of evidence to suggest it is incredibly unlikely for single-celled life to evolve into multi-celled life. There is a lot of evidence to suggest that multi-celled life quickly evolves into intelligent life. The universe is extremely large. In the unlikely event that intelligent life is prominent in the universe, it is even more unlikely that they would be able to contact us. It is a sad thought to feel this alone, but the bright side is that it opens the door for humans to do what we do best: colonize. Story 94. They probably exist somewhere in the vast universe, but they are definitely not traveling trillions of miles to harm some farmers. Story 95. When it comes to extraterrestrial life, it has to exist somewhere. The movie Contact left us with memorable lines about it. Ellie Arroway. Dad, do you think there are people on other planets? Ted Arroway. I don't know, Sparks. But I guess I'd say if it is just us, it seems like an awful waste of space. Story 96. There is something, but we do not know if it is aliens in the conventional sense, interdimensional or extradimensional beings, or from the future. Also, some within the government know far more than the general public. However, with all the misinformation and misdirection, the public will likely never have an accurate picture of it. Story 97. On Earth, the chance is 50-50. Outside of our planet, it is 100%. There are billions of planets out there, making it impossible that only Earth has life. Microorganisms also count as aliens. Story 98. Jobless, bored, demotivated, and discovering new products that people are building but never use. Story 99. They probably look down on us as a very simple and unintelligent race. Story 100. I believe life exists out there. Single-celled organisms or complex societies. Who knows? Story 101. They exist. The universe and even the solar system are just too vast for there not to be or to have been life elsewhere. However, the idea of little green men visiting us is nonsense. Story 102. They are not extraterrestrials. They are fallen angels. Look up the Book of Enoch. Story 103. They need to come and get me out of here already. Earth is very rough these days. Story 104. I do not trust anyone who believes that out of the trillions of planets in the universe, ours is the only one with life. Story 105. They are out there, but so far away that we have never encountered them and we never will. Story 106. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches. I would put my money on the existence of other intelligent life forms out there. Unfortunately, the universe is so vast that we may never meet before our civilizations go extinct. Story 107. They are here on Earth already and have been influencing humans for millennia. Story 108. Nice try, Mr. or Mrs. Alien, to ask us what we think about. We humans are special and do not talk about our secrets. Although, Story 109. I have a cool poster of a gray alien smoking a joint. It must be true. All aliens smoke a lot. Story 110. The universe is vast and full of possibilities. Humans are not the most intelligent life form. If they are, it is a sad thought. Story 111. The solar systems, or stars, were created by extraterrestrials during the Big Bang to clean up space for travel. Our solar system is essentially a garbage dump. The primitive life that has formed on this garbage ball is of little interest to them. Story 112. The universe is so mind-bogglingly huge that it is impossible for there not to be extraterrestrial life. There is life out there. There is intelligent life out there. There are intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations out there. Whether we ever meet them or not is the real question. Story 113. They exist. They know we exist, they just don't care about us. We are featured as a species in their galactic documentaries just as we see ants nowadays. Sure, they are amazing, but they are of interest to only a fraction of their entire population. Story 114. I guess that guy Superman is okay, but the rest can leave. Story 115. I never really cared about it. We have a lot of mutual friends among us anyway. Why would I care? Story 116. Basically, like the ancient astronaut theory discussed on Ancient Aliens, it is not exact but overall seems to make sense. I believe they exist in multiple forms and places in our universe, including possibly here on Earth, generally hidden. I believe they are somewhat advanced as the universe is vast, so are their minds and technologies. There are also different races and species of them. People have mistaken them for angels, demons, and gods throughout history. Some seem to have different intentions toward us as well, whether benevolent, malevolent, or neutral. Story 117. They are eating pets. They are eating the cats. They are eating the dogs. Story 118. The universe is so vast that there must be life out there. At the same time, conditions for life are very specific, so maybe we are alone. Story 119. It is close to impossible that they do not exist, at least to some degree. You are telling me there is not a speck of bacteria in a puddle on some Goldilocks planet somewhere? Intelligent life is another matter. If they are anything like us, we will never see them. We are going to destroy ourselves before we leave this planet, and we are only one species. Imagine a planet where two different intelligent species evolved. Story 120. It seems impossible for them not to exist, but they are probably in a form very different from what we think. Also, the reason why we have never been visited is the same reason we have not visited them. Story 121. The extraterrestrials make some very good tacos. They also perform many undesirable jobs that the citizens do not want to do for low pay. Without extraterrestrials in America, who else would drive our taxicabs and kick our extra points in football? Story 122. Do you really think that any extraterrestrials who can travel across the galaxy are going to show up here and turn on bright lights so you can see them? Story 123. Given the size of the universe, it is almost certain that intelligent life exists somewhere outside our planet and biosphere. However, it is also almost certain that we will never be able to have any kind of meaningful interaction with them. For the record, I would be quite happy to be proven wrong on this point. Story 124. If they are more advanced and capable of reaching us, they would probably observe from a distance with some level of compassion and watch us as we develop. I believe any civilization capable of traveling the cosmos probably does not have any resource issues to worry about. Story 125. To think that out of the billions of planets, we are the sole planet with life forms is ridiculous. They may not look like anything we have here or even need air, water, or other elements to survive. But they are out there. Story 126. If they are not going to give me a lightsaber, then I do not care. Story 127. I really want to believe they exist somewhere because the alternative of Earth being absolutely the only miracle of evolution, that this happened only once, is terrifying to me. Story 128. People assume extraterrestrial beings will have traits similar to humans. That is not a certainty. Extraterrestrial beings might not have two eyes, walk upright on two legs, reproduce sexually, or have a monetary system. Story 129. I am disappointed that we only talk about the undocumented immigrants. Why can't we change the conversation to a positive note and start talking about all the legal immigrants? Story 130. I feel like science fiction has hardwired people to assume aliens look like us. I believe alien life is very different in many ways, so human beings could be staring straight at an alien being and have no clue it is even there. A few examples come from the movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. Sure, a majority of the aliens are humanoid, but the non-humanoids, the gas-based aliens, liquid-based aliens, and even artificial intelligence-based life forms are very different. Just think of alien life in the form of a mist. If you saw it while driving down the road, you would not think it was alive. Or consider the theory of multidimensional beings existing in far more planes than we can imagine, much less see. We might see a knee here and nothing else, but it is all one entity. The rest we cannot see. The point is, the odds are good that alien life is out there. We as humans have no clue what it would be or look like, so depictions are based on what we know. Story 131. I mean, the ones I have met have been alright. They are a little shy though and only seem to go out at night. Story 132. From a purely mathematical standpoint, there is almost certainly some life form besides us out there. Will we ever come into contact with them? Not in our lifetime. Story 133. I am currently rereading H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, and it seems a more plausible scenario to me than all these decades of poorly documented flybys and abductions. Story 134. Oh boy, am I glad you asked. There are definitely non-human intelligences who regularly visit us. I think there are multiple species, and their motivations differ. They came to keep a closer eye on our behavior after we created nuclear weapons. Mark my words, we are soon going to learn that Roswell was real and they have bodies and a craft. Story 135. A few that I have met have been unpleasant, but on the whole, they are just trying to get by. Watch out for the ones that live in volcanoes, though. Story 136. There is life outside of our solar system. There is absolutely no way we are alone in the universe. Story 137. They exist but probably are not as technologically advanced as we hoped, as they do not have technology like flying saucers or laser guns. Story 138. They only exist if they were created before us. I do not think God would want to create another species after seeing the havoc humans have caused. Story 139. I'm sure they exist but are probably limited by relativity, distance, and the speed of light like we are. They may not have evolved as we did, to see and hear within this spectrum of light, in this atmosphere, and at this distance from their star. Is gravity lighter or stronger? What about atmospheric pressure? They may not perceive anything like we do or have the organs to do so. The same applies to their means of communication. I'm not sure we could even perceive each other if dimensions are involved. I will long be dust before any of this is figured out, if it ever is, and that makes me a bit sad. I do hope their existence is a good one and that they are curious about their neighbors like us. Story 140. There are people out there who are smart enough to stay away from this chaotic situation. Story 141. They exist and are part of our everyday lives. Most of the technology around us, which we now consider normal, is more than likely derived from them. Story 142. I believe they exist, but I am wondering if there is more than one species and why they keep buzzing the Earth and occasionally entering our oceans. I would also like to know how they evolved and if they all come from the same place. Story 143. They definitely exist, but the question is how advanced they are. Our universe is ever expanding. I feel it is arrogant to say we are the only intelligent beings out there. Story 144. I think they are better staying in their home countries. We have enough problems here and cannot help them. Story 145. The universe is incredibly large, so there has to be aliens out there. Maybe they can travel to us, maybe not. Maybe they look like us, maybe not. One thing is for sure though, if they or we ever make contact, someone is going to try to be with one of them. Story 146. The Copernican principle states that humans are not privileged to be in a special position in the universe. Therefore, if life exists here, it is extremely statistically likely to exist elsewhere. Why haven't we found it yet? Because we have barely started looking. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, has been conducted for about 50 years with minimal funding and scale. It relies on many predictions and assumptions. that are frequently updated. Asking why we haven't found aliens is like asking why we have no cure for cancer. The answer is the same. Science takes time. I would be more surprised if we found alien life in the short time we have been searching. I am optimistic that it will happen eventually with advances in physics, engineering, and biology. However, expecting it to happen easily and quickly was an unrealistic perspective from Fermi and others. Story 147. Based on my last TripAdvisor entry. Reception, not great. The staff were quite grabby and aggressive. Transport, billed as executive, but I rated as poor because the teleporter turned me upside down, causing me to land on my head. Accommodation, terrible. Basically a hospital surgery-type bed with the seat area missing. This should have been a clear warning, but I just thought they were European. Recreation, 3 out of 10. Please provide guests with more lubrication. Otherwise, the probing was fine. Also, I was forced to slow dance with one of the medical aliens who probed me. It was okay but a bit weird. Check out. Appalling. I was dumped in the middle of a field, cold, wet, sore, and with no luggage service. Not that I had any luggage, but it would have been nice. Overall, 2 out of 10. I wouldn't go again unless I was bored and felt like being punished. Story 148. They do not exist. There is no reason to look for other life forms that might want to invade, harvest, or exterminate our planet. Have a pleasant day, fellow Homo sapiens. Story 149. They have been here since the beginning of our time and before. The evidence is clear if you open your eyes. Story 150. There is no way they are not out there. We are one planet in one galaxy. That is all I really need to know. My brain is not meant to comprehend every unknown thing, and I am at peace with that. Story 151. I am sure I will hear soon enough that they are interfering in the election as well. Story 152. I speculate that there are some life forms out in space. The fact that it happened here suggests it can happen elsewhere. The idea that they are much more advanced than us and visiting our planet seems far-fetched to me but is still possible. The United States government has released fragments of evidence to suggest something that is not related to us is here, but we do not know what it is. Incidents of unknown objects in controlled airspace have been made available to the public and have been around for a while. In my humble opinion, it could be other things besides extraterrestrials, such as time travelers or beings that have been here as long or longer than us who have hidden their existence from us, kind of like how the wizarding world hides from non-magical people, or another country with secret technology that we are not aware of. I am not saying any of that is the case, just that such concepts and others are just as likely as extraterrestrials. Story 153. They are overrated. Fancy spaceships do not impress me at all. Story 154. They are probably tiny microorganisms, and anything more evolved than that is either too far away to ever be in contact with, has died out eons ago, or has not emerged yet. Story 155. I saw them 20 years ago. What you see about how they land in cartoons is true. And yes, they are everywhere. Story 156. I love the theory that they are watching us like a zoo. Is it called the window theory? I like to think they are sitting back in their invisible and untraceable spaceships, relaxing and laughing at how ridiculous the human race is. War. Religion. I hate you because of your skin color. Taxes, anxiety, Instagram models. They are out there and we are the sitcom. Story 157. They are out there on some planet light years away who, like us, will die out long before they ever reach a point where they could meet us. Story 158. We are the aliens. The unexpected arrival on Earth of us Galgafrinchans meant the question was corrupted. Story 159. They are eating the dogs, they are eating the cats, they are eating the pets, and they have acid for blood. Story 160. Are the conditions that gave rise to life on Earth extremely specific? Yes. Are they the only conditions that can give rise to life? Maybe. Are the chances of finding the same conditions somewhere else very small? Probably. Is there intelligent life out there somewhere anyway? Almost certainly. Will we ever encounter them in any meaningful way? Almost certainly not. Story 161. They exist, but they have never been to Earth and likely never will. Space is too vast. Story 162. If you follow the unidentified aerial phenomena issue, it seems likely that they are here. Barack Obama has said there are things flying around that move in ways that cannot be explained. The Navy has confirmed the videos of objects performing maneuvers that defy our understanding of physics are real. Admirals, generals, nuclear technicians, multiple presidents, and others have stated that they are here and that we need to take this seriously. Either they are telling the truth and the unidentified aerial phenomena issue represents non-human intelligence engaging with Earth, or a shocking number of the most powerful people on Earth, those with the ability to launch nuclear weapons, are absolutely irrational. In either case, this is something worth discussing. Story 163. Well, the universe does go on forever, so there is no way that there is not someone else out there somewhere. Story 164. On whether extraterrestrial beings exist or not, or if they have been here or are here now. If it is the first, then I would give a solid yes, as there is far too much universe for there not to be something else out there. Whether they are here or not is another story. I would lean towards very likely at least visiting for a look, due to a few things I have personally seen that to this day I cannot come close to explaining. Story 165. The unidentified aerial phenomena issue is shaping up to be a real disruptor. At Authentic, our mission is to help leaders prepare for disruptors, black swans, that throw a real curveball into people's lives. We have been tracking the unidentified aerial phenomena issue as one of the most significant potential disruptions on the horizon, right up there with artificial intelligence and robotics. It seems almost certain that either some kind of intelligent life is flying around right now, or there are mass delusions in Washington and the Pentagon given the number of people taking this seriously. Here is a briefing note that covers this issue and explains why this should be a front-of-mind concern for everyone. Story 166. We may not be alone in the universe, but I guarantee we are alone with our problems. Aliens might say, no thanks, peace out. Story 167. Probably they exist. I mean, you cannot tell me that in this vast universe, which we do not even know the size of, only Earth has life. Story 168. I think it is silly to assume that if there is life on other planets, it is definitely intelligent life. There are likely many planets teeming with plant life, strange fungi, or bacteria that get wiped out by total mass extinction events long before reaching the intelligence stage, let alone before their intelligence progresses to the point where they start seeking out other planets. That is not to mention how far away other planets are. Traveling faster than the speed of light may truly be impossible, and because of that, we may never reach intelligent life elsewhere, no matter how hard we try. I also support the theory that even if we do find other intelligent life, the idea that we would be able to communicate is unlikely. We cannot even communicate with every other human on the planet. We do not know if these aliens have vocal cords or reasoning skills remotely similar to ours. Story 169. Firstly, any version of aliens that did not have the perimeter guns being used and counting down the ammunition is not a version that should have been used. Whoever made that cut was a fool. Incidentally, that is the version on Disney+. Please stop forcing me to pirate content. Story 170. In my experience, they are reliable, punctual, and eager to work twice as hard as any of the 20 to 30-year-old citizens in my line of work. Story 171. Someone somewhere is touching themselves to alien pictures. You're welcome. Story 172. If it were announced tomorrow that extraterrestrial beings were going to invade Earth, my only thought would be, will I still have to go to work on Monday? I think we all assume they exist, but do we really care anymore? I am curious about what they look like. But that is where the curiosity ends. Story 173. They definitely exist, but we have never been visited or communicated with them. So there would be some trace. We can see light from billions of years ago. The odds are if they have visited us, we would be able to observe the light they most likely would have left behind. That being said, it is possible they could be so advanced they leave no trace or light, potentially bending space to travel. At the end of the day, like God, no one really knows if they exist. I would like to believe they do, though. If they did, who would want to meet us anyway? Story 174. The government is openly stating their presence. I do not understand why this is not a bigger topic. Ultimately, they are not interfering with us to a degree that causes concern, but the future remains uncertain. Story 175. I think it is likely, but we will never meet them and therefore never know. Story 176. I have no idea if they are out there or not. However, if they are, it is extremely unlikely that we will ever see them since everything in space is so far apart. The closest star system is over 4 light-years away, and no one knows how far away the nearest star system is that has a planet supporting intelligent life. I understand that communication from intelligent life will come much sooner. However, actually seeing them is likely many years from now at a minimum. Story 177. It is likely that extraterrestrial life exists. Most of it is probably simple single-celled life forms. It is entirely possible that Earth is unique in its development of intelligent life. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.